Hi, this is Chris Bosch, and you're listening to Animal House Radio with Aaron and Dr. Mike.
Yeah, we don't know all the circumstances, and I will tell you that we've had some similar kinds of cases that involve, an end of a relationship. One party's not really happy. They use animals as pawns. We've seen people trying to surrender their ex's pets as a stray.
At least they're surrendering them. They're not slapping them in a box. You know what I mean? Like, that's the thing that kills me.
No, not putting them in a box necessarily, but essentially trying to, for one reason or another, take their pet away from their spouse. So without the specifics of the situation, I can't really say, but he'll be finding his way to a proper home, I'm sure, in due time.
Well, what's neat, now you say that about the spouses and stuff, that in our situation as veterinarians, we obviously, when someone brings a pet in to be euthanized, we have to get them to sign a form saying they're the owner or the agent of, mainly for the reason that, people I've heard have brought their neighbor's cats they didn't like in to be euthanized, claiming it's theirs. I mean, that's a scary situation.
Oh, absolutely. And that's why, when people come in to surrender a pet, they're often a little taken aback that we ask for identification and some proof that the animal does belong to them, whether it's a veterinary record in their name or whatnot. But there are those odd circumstances where people, as I say, use the animals as pawns because there's a dispute with someone, as you say, maybe it's a neighbor dispute or a relationship that's ended bitterly. These are exceptions, but this is why we take every precaution to ensure that if an animal is being surrendered to us for whatever reason, that it is the rightful owner, and they're seeking to have the pet rehomed because of their own circumstances or whatnot. But you certainly have to cover your bases because there are unusual situations that pop up from time to time.
Right. Well, unfortunately, I'm going to have to put you through our our segment that Aaron makes you go through. I think it'll be fun. We're going to do a segment of Believe It or Not, so you're going to hang out with us while we do Believe It or Not?
Excellent.
Awesome. Let's do it.
Okay.
Believe it or not, I'm walking on air.
Even that music is back to my generation, but
here
we go.
The show.
Okay, you see, I'm only going to say this one because I know Aaron would be all excited to say this one, but did you know that iguanas have two penises? It's fascinating.
No, I didn't.
Aaron seems to think they do. Okay, so believe it or not, if a lobster loses an eye, it will grow another one. I kind of knew that. I think I inherently knew that. Did you know that?
I
know claw. They'll grow a new claw.
That I knew. I didn't know about the eye.
Yeah, I knew about the claw.
Don't do a lot of crustacean stuff.
That's right. Yeah. Yep. This is a neat one. It was discovered, believe it or not, on a space mission that a frog can throw up. Yeah, how did they discover it? Fascinating. Now, this one, you know what? Here's a neat one. Here's a believe it or not, and I actually disproved it. It says here, in the last 4,000 years, no new animals have been domesticated. 4,000 years. So that would take us back to like 2000 BC, right? Do you believe that or not?
Like
4,000 years since we've domesticated anything. Yeah, it's not. And just for interest of our listeners, the reindeer was domesticated in 1000 BC, so that's 3,000 years ago. The turkey was domesticated in Mexico in 100 BC. And here's a real cool one. The hamster was domesticated in 1930. They had two hamsters in Syria. Yeah, the hamster, 1930. So
they were just running feral up until that point, were they?
Exactly, feral, vicious hamsters. To tell you the truth, most of the hamsters today still are, in my mind, feral and vicious. But
they are.
There you go.
Particularly the dwarf hamsters. I don't think they've ever been domesticated.
Yes, quite true. I always say when you take your kid, this is for all you listeners out there, if you take your kid to a pet store to get a hamster, don't ever get the smallest, puffiest ones, because those guys are usually the nastiest, right? And the cutest ones are usually the most vicious ones,
Yeah, and my fingertips can attest to that.
Yeah. Do you see a lot of, pocket pets?
Well, we do. Not obviously as much as our, favorite dogs and cats, but we actually had a litter of dwarf hamsters a few months ago, and we doubted that they were actually dwarf hamsters because they were all very nice.
Wow.
Except one. No, except one, and that's where my fingertips came into play. And but we found him a home with somebody who loved these creatures, despite his cranky little personality.
There you go. Now, believe it or not, it is possible for a scorpion to sting itself to death, as they are not immune to their own poison.
That I knew.
Did you know that? Well, Darwin didn't do a really good job on that one.
No, not really.
This one's kind of cool because this one involves my brother. Lake Nicaragua in Nicaragua is the only freshwater lake in the world that has sharks. Did you know that?
No.
Now, the only reason why I even know Nicaragua is my brother had this funky thing when he was younger, and the capital of Nicaragua is Managua.
Yeah.
How do I know that? Because my brother would always walk around with the weirdest voice, just going, Managua, Nicaragua, Managua, Nicaragua. Never understood what he was talking about till I found out what Nicaragua was. So anyway, sorry, Jay, I had to say that about you. But that was my brother's favorite saying when he was a kid. He used to walk around going, Managua, Nicaragua. He thought it was funny. Now, this is... Sorry?
Quite the alliteration.
Yeah. Now, I got two more. These are really funny. Maggots will only eat flesh... This is not funny. This is kind of cool, actually. Maggots will only eat flesh if it is dead. For this reason, they're often used to remove the burnt skin from severe burn patients. I did know that.
Yes.
That's kind of neat. Yeah.
They're kind of cool. They're gross.
Yes.
But they are so cool.
Yeah.
And you know, there are even, and I know this goes back years and years, but there was a case a few years ago at a British vet clinic where there was a cat, and he had a pretty bad wound on the hind area, and there were maggots in it. This is kind of gross, but yet they actually left the maggots there to essentially debride the area of the necrotic tissue or the dead tissue, and then they treated him, and he was fine.
Wow. Can you imagine the decision? You know, I think we'll leave those guys there.
Yeah,
I just imagine them saying that, you know. We'll just leave them there. Let them do their thing. Yeah, that's kind of gross.
Bit of a throwback, but it worked out.
Now, this one, Dr. Ron and I are follicularly challenged, so this one kind of goes out to both of us. Did you know that male monkeys lose their hair on their heads in the same way men do?
Yes.
See, I think that's just because when the male monkeys get married, it's just those guys. That's my...
Right.
Oh, just married monkeys?
Just married monkeys. Believe it or not, Aaron, that's Aaron's joke. I'm not going to suck it from him. That was his joke. So there's Believe It or Not. And we always love having you on, Nicola. Thank you very much. And I'm going to let you guys tell us where we can reach you at Toronto Animal Services.
You can reach us all the time at 416-338-PAWS or online at www.toronto.ca/animal services for all your information and animal-related dilemmas. We're always here for you.
Thank you very much. Have a wonderful night and a great weekend. And you'll be talking to us next week where Aaron is the captain again. There you go.
Excellent. Looking forward to it.
Have a good one. Take care. See ya.
See ya.
So, Dr. Ron, let's get back to our little chit-chat on being a vet. And I'd love to hear from anybody who wants to call to talk to us about our topic tonight. And if you have any questions, any comments on your veterinarian or things that you think veterinarians should do, et cetera, you can reach us, of course, at 416-785-0680. That's 416-785-0680. So one of the things, we did the good. Now we're going to get to the bad. and the dislikes. I mean, I love going to work every day. I've been doing this for 18 years. I love it. It's a blast. It's a job you never get sick of. But there are times, there are things that I do dislike. And you and I were talking about some of the things we dislike today, but we won't go into that in detail. No. But I think we'll just go into generalities. I'll tell you what I dislike, and then I'm going to hear what you have to say, because this is kind of neat. People, I find. Some people don't really want to take responsibility for their pets, and it kind of goes back to our news story today. And a lot of people just treat pets just like they're a luxury. They should be a luxury. They treat them like they're I can have a dog or a cat anytime I want. Yes. And then they go and they have one, and then something goes wrong, and
they don't have the money to actually pay for it.
Right. And I think at some point people have to realize that dogs and cats are not free. You have to feed them. You have to take care of them, and they love you unconditionally. And so. You have to take care of them. And whether you get them on insurance, which I have my pets on, or you start a little, I call it the little doggy or kitty fund, which I was talking to my clients about today, put some money away for the cat. And God forbid if something happens, or the dog, you got something there, a slush fund. And if you're lucky enough where your animal doesn't get sick, which is wonderful, then, see, I said wonderful again, which is great, then you go on a vacation.
That's wonderful.
It's wonderful, right? So, but oh boy, thank you, Richard. Another little